Folks, welcome back to another edition of my thoughts on a game I beat, which is Bioshock 2. I knew I was close to beating this the other night when I showed it. Probably had about another hour to put into it. But I finished it, and I, I don't know. It's not a lot different than the first game. You basically have the same type of abilities that you do in the first game, and you're basically fighting the same types of enemies, more or less, that you did in the first game. The big daddies, some of them, they have these ones called the alphas, which are a little faster, but and these ones called the big sisters. But I don't know. I'm not an achievement whore. I'm not one of those people that feels the need to get every achievement. I basically like to play through it, see what achievements I get just through the course of the game, and then if I beat the game, who knows if I'll ever go back to playing it again. But just to see what I pick up just through the random course of me playing the game like I normally would without going to any extraordinary ability. So I started this game. I started playing it on the normal hardness level, and it wasn't terribly hard. I mean, I was playing along until I got to the first boss fight, the first big sister you have to fight, and it seemed a little bit tough. But there's no real penalty when you die. You just go back to these checkpoint things, these Vita chambers, and you start, and you come out, and you're not really penalized in any way. You still have all your med packs. You still have all your Eve hypo needles, your mana, whatever you want to call it, and you just come back out and go back to where you were fighting and pick the fight back up. And there's really no penalty to dying at all. And I don't know. When I got to that first fight, I died. I died a couple times, and it kind of annoyed me to the point where I decided to put it on easy. And then I remembered, I think I played the first Bioshock game on easy. But the first one I found more difficult than this one. It seemed like when you powered up your plasmids and your guns on this game, they were just exponentially stronger than they were in the first game. Basically, my whole strategy in any given fight was to use the freezing ability, the frost or whatever it's called, and just freeze the people into a solid block of ice, and then take this shotgun and just shoot them in the head a couple times, and it'd pretty much kill anybody I ran across. After a while, probably for the second half of the game, even these Alpha Series Big Daddies or the Big Sisters, it's basically just freeze, shoot, 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 freeze. And as long as you've got med packs and mana things, I mean, it's almost impossible that you're going to use all of them in a fight. I mean, really, the Big Sisters, you freeze them, you shoot them with 4 or 5 shotgun shots, you freeze them again, you shoot them with 4 or 5 more shotgun shots, and they're dead. I mean, total, like 10 shots. But that's with the weapons powered up. It might be a little harder if they aren't, but I don't know. It just seemed like at least on easy, I was finding money left hand over fist, and it was just like, it wasn't really that hard to max. There was, a lot of first aid kits laying around and stuff, and like I don't know on normal if there's that many first aid kits. I would assume they're not laying around. But the money, I don't know. I don't know if they still give you that much money or not. The Atom, the stuff you pick up, I mean, I saved all the little sisters. I mean, this game's one of those games where it has the 3 endings again. And yeah, I'm talking spoilers because I'm talking about my thoughts on the game. So, take it for what you will. I saved them all. I did kill one of the guys that supposedly was the one that turned me over to Ryan and turned me into a Big Daddy in the first place, which was some kind of, mindless, zombie type thing, taking care of a little girl walking around the city. So I killed him because he supposedly had done, some bad stuff. But pretty much everybody else I let live. And, in the first game I killed I harvested, I think, 2 little sisters, and then the one at the very end, the stretch where you have to protect them, I think one died. So I think 3 total out of all the little sisters in the first game died, and I got the shitty ending. So on this one, I saved them all, and I think I got what's called the good ending. I went online and looked on YouTube, and it looks like there's like 3 up to maybe 6 or 8 endings. I don't know. It was hard for me to tell. Basically, I saw 3 that I thought were different and unique. There's the evil ending, the sad ending where, and then the good ending. So, either way, I think your character dies on all 3 endings, so it really didn't matter much. Let's get back to the game. As far as the environment goes, I love Rapture, and I love that environment. It didn't bother me to have to play through it with a different character. I thought they could have did some different stuff with the story. When I was playing along, I was like, I think I could have wrote a better story for this game in this same environment. And, the Big Sisters are a good idea, but I thought they could have did something different. And there's just no real boss fights in the game. I guess they consider the Big Sisters the boss fights, but they're not really that tough. I mean, basically, the Big Sisters are the toughest thing in the game, and like I said, 8 to 10 shotgun blasts, and you just freeze them. Pretty much everything is quick, but if you freeze it, I mean, they're at your mercy. I mean, it's almost, everybody's got their own way they like to do things, but that was the easiest. And maybe, I don't know. Maybe I should have tried something different. But why make it harder on yourself if you don't have to? I mean, that's part of the game, is to finish it. I'm not going to sit and use the bee swarm, plasmid when I'm getting my ass handed to me, when I know I can use the freeze thing and be done with it. So, I don't know. I guess what it was is there's a couple things that bothered me. I'll try to wrap this up, but the first thing was you run into Tenenbaum. This is the chick from the first game that tells you need to save the little sisters, and actually she helps you at one point in the first game. She makes a reappearance in this game, and she actually makes a physical reappearance. There's tapes, and then you actually see her through a ticket window taking care of some little sisters in kind of a nursery type of thing. And then you get a wave of enemies coming at you or something, and she says she's going to take the sister somewhere safe, and you never see her again for the rest of the game. And they never come back to her or talk about her again or anything. They never say she died, she didn't die, she's still alive down there, you don't take her with you at the end, nothing. So I thought that was kind of weird. I just didn't know what the point of that was. The second thing was there's this guy Sinclair that you see one time through a window, and then you never see him again. But he's with you in this train car the whole time in the back, like locked in the back. And he's basically telling you what you need to do the whole time, kind of like Fontaine did as I forget who he was, not Atlas, somebody, I forget who he was acting like he was, some Scotsman or something. But he basically manipulated you the whole game, and I kept having this feeling that this Sinclair guy was manipulating you, and he was a little slimy and had his fingers in a lot of pies down there, but he wasn't evil. And basically you end up having to fight him somehow. The Sophia Lamb, who is supposedly the bad guy of the game, ends up getting a hold of his mind and controlling him somehow. He ends up in a Big Daddy suit, and you have to get this key from him. Literally, when I went to fight him, I'm like, okay, this is going to be the big boss fight, the Sinclair. I've been wondering what this guy's been in the game for, other than just lip service. Finally, there's going to be a boss fight. I turn the juice on in this room. I find the code key. I put the key in, open the door. The guy's in there. He rushes me. I shoot him with the ice, 2 shotgun shots, and he was dead. That was it. And that was the guy I thought was going to be the toughest guy, boss fight, next to the end boss that there wasn't. on the game. And after I killed him with 2 shotgun blasts and just freezing him, I was like, there's not going to be anything hard on this game, is there? I mean, that was kind of my opinion, but I'm like, I'm going to finish it, and I did, and I mean, it was good. I don't finish anything that's crap. I mean, if it's crappy, I probably gave up on it. And I've got so many games. Why waste the time on playing something that I'm not enjoying? Just to say, oh, I beat that. So I definitely enjoyed it. It just felt a little bit clone-y of the first game, like kind of just a different take on the same story and environment. And basically, yeah, they make reference to your character in the first game in a couple of the audio tape things you find and stuff, but you just as easily could have not even included that, cut that out of the game, and these could have been 2 parallel storylines for Bioshock 1, and that maybe people were developing different stories, and then they just picked one. I mean, the story, because the environment and everything that goes on is basically the same. You do get to go outside a couple of times in Bioshock 2. The first time, a big sister came through the room and cracked a bunch of the windows and flooded this room. That's what I wanted to happen more often in the game. I wanted you to be in and outside of these buildings. I wanted you to have to maybe, bust through the windows because the room was, gonna flood or whatever. Bust through the windows, maybe scale the side of a building and come out in a hatch up higher on a building, or have to do some stuff outside, not always stuck inside. So I don't know, that would have been cool. Saw the stuff for Bioshock Infinite. I didn't really know that much about it, but Snestastic mentioned it about the E3 stuff, and I went and checked it out, and that game looks sweet. So I can't wait for that one. Yeah, it's not the same because they're not underwater, but that's not the point. I mean, it just is a different take on a idea. That's awesome. So I don't. Anyway, I'm gonna sign off. I recommend it. I usually, when I talk my thoughts on, I usually mention the negative stuff because it's the stuff that kind of bothered me or stuck in my brain when I was playing it. But it was easy to follow the story. I didn't ever really get stuck at any point. I felt like the characters were good. I just felt like the story could have been worked a little differently, and it might have worked out better. And I thought they needed some real boss fight type characters, not just waves of medium hard enemies that you need to survive a room of. So anyway, signing off. Thanks, folks, for checking out another my thoughts. I know you all don't especially love these. I mean, I know I don't get as many views on them as I would on something else, but it's rare. It's not rare, but it's becoming a little more often that I've been beating some games. But usually, I'm lucky if I could beat a game a month at at maximum speed. So anyway, I'm gonna sign off. Thanks, folks, and check it out. I suppose if you sat and listened to this, you've probably been spoiled on a shitload of stuff. So I don't know. That's kind of your fault, isn't it? Oh boy. Anyway, I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Thanks for coming by.